Oh, wow, my man.
It's the sport of kings, better than diamond rings. Football,
Wildcats.
football,
Wildcats.
football.
Welcome to the Married with Picks podcast, Season 6, Episode 6, Week 6. So how'd you do last week, Steve?
I was 8-4.
8-4. I was 8-3.
Nice. Did pretty good.
And I thought that I won our bet, but I looked at the sheet and it was you. So
Which one was it? The Colts?
Lions.
Lions?
Yes.
I think everybody had the Lions.
Except me. All right. So Week 6. We have two teams on bye, the Texans and the Vikings. First game up is the Broncos at the Jets in London. Broncos are 7-point favorites. So this one's kind of tough for me, only because the Broncos have one of the best defenses in the league, right? Jets couldn't beat the Dolphins or the Cowboys, who have two of the worst defenses in the league. So statistically, it's very easy to take the Broncos here. What does worry me is this is actually the fourth road game for the Broncos. They were at the Eagles last week, as you may recall. And now they have to travel to London. So I'm a little worried about the travel, but I am going to stick with the Broncos as long as it's at 7.
Yeah, I'm going to go in on the other side on this one. Simply because the Jets are 0-5. I think Fields is a suitable quarterback in the NFL, and they're going to get a win soon. The Broncos got to come off the big comeback win against the Eagles, but the Eagles don't seem to look as strong as they've lost this week already to the Giants on Thursday night.
Tough night for Eagles or for Philly fans. We'll put it that way. Philadelphia team fans. Philly fans.
That's great. Thanks for pointing that one out. Yeah, it's still painful.
All right, so you got the Jets.
I'm thinking the Jets, yeah.
All right, next game is the Browns at the Steelers. Steelers are 5.5-point favorites. This is the only division game of this week, other than last night, which I guess is what they're doing here because they did the same thing last week. So these two teams have actually split the last 3 years, with each team's wins coming at home. Now, the Browns are traveling back from London. They did not elect to take their bye week here. Steelers are coming off the bye week. And then, so we have Tomlin, some stats. He is 14-4 coming off the bye. He is 26-6 versus rookie quarterbacks. And I wrote this down, but I don't think this can be right. 21 straight wins at home versus the Browns. That can't be right, right? Has Tomlin been the coach for
I'm
that
seeing
long? I guess he has
19-1 straight up in the last 20 games when playing at home against Cleveland.
Okay. All right. So that's close. So Dylan Gabriel started for the Browns last week. He will start again this week. The only thing I have to say about him is he's really short. Did you see him next to Carson Wentz after that game?
I did. Carson Wentz is kind of tall, too.
Well, generally, quarterbacks are tall in the NFL. So he's like 5'11". So I don't love 5.5, but I am going to take the Steelers here. They are getting some of their defensive players back. Hightower and Joey Porter Jr. will be back.
I think Steelers are the move here. They're playing at home, right? They're coming off the bye, so they had time to prepare for Cleveland, who's obviously, as you just said, they're going with the rookie, who didn't look horrible, but I don't think that he's going to be able to come into Pittsburgh and really put up much of a fight. I think this is going to be a blowout. Cleveland is 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 games. They're 0-7 against the spread in the last 7 games on the road. Spells a disaster for a Steelers team who's well rested coming off the bye.
All right, next game is the Chargers at the Dolphins. Chargers are 4.5-point favorites. So Chargers didn't fare very well last week. They have some injuries on their offensive line, which I think affected them. And I'm not sure if Dan Quinn gets enough credit for his defensive coaching. So it seems like he's doing a pretty good job with Washington's defense there. Dolphins defense is not that good. They don't have a very good pass rush. The Chargers are going to be without both of their tackles, rookie Joe Alt and Trey Pippins. They also lost their running back last week, which I guess was the rookie. Is that right?
Yeah.
So he's out. Najee Harris was already out. So I don't even know who their next man up is, I have to admit. But against the Dolphins, I don't know if it matters. I think...
Well, they have Hassan Haskins, okay, and also Kamini Vidal, who was on the practice squad, got sent down after the game last week. He got elevated from the practice squad, got sent down after the game, and re-elevated on Wednesday. So the ball's up in the air as to which one of those two, Hassan Haskins or Kamani Vidal, is going to take over the job for Omarion Hampton, who is the rookie running back that's injured. Like you said, Najee Harris is out, so he's out of the mix. I guess it's kind of wait and see who they're really going to commit to. And I think the Chargers and Harbaugh are really waiting to see who's going to actually step up and take the job.
Or who they can trade for.
Or who they can trade for, which is a good option as well. You also have Quentin Johnson, who's been a big surprise this year, wide receiver for the Chargers. He's gotten a lot of long passes,
and there's always
threat for the Chargers.
Good old reliable Keenan Allen.
Yeah. Well, my point is that Johnson might not be playing this game. He's questionable, and he's been on the injured report all week long. So it's going to be tough if Keenan Allen is the only one that's healthy of the two, but you still have Ladd McConkey. So keep an eye on that before game time, before you make a decision. But honestly, I like the Dolphins in this one. I think that it's going to be tough for the Chargers to come across the country and win this game down in the heat. The thing about playing in Miami for the Chargers is that they are 1-9 in their last 10 games in Miami against the spread. So they have a history of struggling when flying down to Miami to play the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins this week, babe.
Okay. I won't even say what I was going to say. All right. Next game is...
Good. I knew what you were going to say, so I'm glad you didn't say it.
Next game is the Patriots at the Saints. Patriots are 3.5-point favorites. So this one's a little tough too, because we have the Patriots coming off their big win over the Bills. Who did you have in that game last week, Steve?
Patriots.
Okay, so did I. And
I had a lot of big upsets
Saints
that came in.
are also coming off their first win last week. But it is Mike Vrabel, and I do think he will have the guys ready to play. I don't love the hook, but I am going to take the Patriots.
I like the Patriots too. I don't like the Saints. It's more of a play against the Saints than it is for the Patriots. I see that they did come off that big high of last week of beating the Buffalo Bills. But again, Saints, even at home, probably will lose by 10 points to the Patriots.
Okay.
If not more. Look for the Patriots to build momentum as Vrabel starts to kind of implement his own system and his personality into the locker room and really gets it away finally from the ever-dominating, long-time coach of the Patriots, Bill Belichick. He's starting to flush all those players out now. And hopefully within a year here, Vrabel will get the team back to consistent winning.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Next game is the Seahawks at the Jaguars. Jaguars are 1.5-point favorites. So the Jags had the big win Monday night over the Chiefs, who I believe we both had that as well.
Jags, right? Yeah, I had the Jags.
Yeah, I had the Jags. And I will say I'm not a big Jags bettor. And it is very painful to watch Trevor Lawrence play quarterback. And I found that final play where he fell down twice.
You wouldn't stop laughing.
I know, it was just hilarious because he falls down.
Watching something else.
He falls down once, and then like he's trying to get back up, and he just like totally flops down again, and then he gets back up, and he manages to get to the end zone. But I mean, that wasn't the only play. And then they caught him picking his nose on the sideline. Like, it's just not fun to watch.
He's kind of a goober.
I don't know. I don't think like not impressive at all. They are.
He was like the first pick of the draft too when he came out.
They're 4-1 on the season. So, but I think this could be the letdown spot for them after the big win over the Chiefs. And the Hawks did suffer a tough loss at home last week to the Bucs. Now, I don't love the fact that they're traveling all the way down to Jacksonville in the heat, which I guess is not as bad as Miami, but it's still hot. Although I don't know with this like storm, is it going to be down that way or I don't know. And I don't typically take the Seahawks, but I am going to take the Seahawks here. Although I will say that 67% of the bets and 83% of the money is on the Hawks. What do you got?
I like the Hawks. I think that the Jags are going to have a letdown. They kind of, I don't want to say lucked into the win because their defense played really good against Kansas City, but I think we all agree that Kansas City is kind of, at least to this point in the season, is a step down from what they've been over the last 3 or 4 years. So it's not as big, but still carries some weight because they are still the Chiefs. That victory last week against them. However, but people are kind of sleeping on the Seahawks. I think that they are starting to build like a decent team. The Seahawks, I feel like they're, they were good last year, but they just had the inconsistent quarterback play. And I think making the change, getting away from Geno Smith, right? And tapping into the Minnesota Vikings talent pool to wrestle Sam Darnold away from them has been a great move. And I think that as he gets more comfortable in that offense, I look at Seattle to be they're going to be the team a lot like Minnesota last year, where they weren't that impressive like on paper, but all they did was win games. They were 15-2, and Darnold's kind of like sleeper at this point, like from a standpoint where he's the wily veteran that's getting his teams to win. So you have to start believing in Seattle. I like Kenneth Walker the third. The combination with him and Zach Charbonnet is a pretty strong 1-2 punch coming out of the backfield there in Seattle. So I'm probably talking too much if you want to add anything else, but I like Seattle.
I think we're good on this one. Okay, let's move on. Cardinals at Colts. Colts, it was 6.5. It is up to 7.point favorites. Cardinals coming off that disastrous loss to the Titans last week. We had the Deshaun Jackson play. And then Jonathan Gannon got fined $100,000 for putting his hands on DeMarcado on the sideline. They had interception, fumble for a touchdown. And that was funny too. Kyler Murray took the football to the face and somehow hurt his foot in the process. So he had his ego. He had not practiced all week. He was a limited participant at practice today. Their backup is Jacoby Brissett, who has been around the NFL, but he has proved serviceable at times. I am a little worried about the Kyler Murray injury, but one other interesting note, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but Jonathan Gannon was the defensive coordinator when Shane Steichen was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles when they went to the Super Bowl but lost. Now, when the Eagles played the Cardinals, the Cardinals won that game because Jonathan Gannon wanted to stick it to your head coach, whose name escapes me at the moment. So Sirianni. I wonder if he'll be up for this game to go against Steichen. So I am prepared to take the points with the Cardinals in this one to get themselves back off I don't know what the saying is there, but after the bad loss last week.
Let's say get back on the wagon, right? So what I don't like about the Cardinals in this situation, well, I'm going to take the Colts. And what I don't like about playing the Colts is that the Cardinals kind of lost in an embarrassing way, giving up those points, dropping the ball, before the end zone, things like that. How do you get more embarrassing than the coach putting hands on the running back after he makes that blown dumb play? So a lot of times when stuff like that happens, the team bounces back because you're talking about major pride, right? Kind of looking at you in the mirror. You don't want to be the laughing stock of the league. Other than that, obviously, I've been talking every week about the Colts as my dark horse since week 1. I love the Colts. I love Daniel Jones getting into an offense where Steichen is teaching him kind of how to play and re-educating him on how to prepare for football games in the NFL once you get away from the lonely swamp that is up in North Jersey for the Giants. So I think that Daniel Jones will continue to get better. I like the Colts. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is back, baby. He's running the ball with authority. He's a year and a half now off of that bad knee surgery. So I look for him to continue to run the ball with success. Hopefully, Michael Pittman Jr. can get a big one in here too. I think this is going to be another. I mean, they blew out. Who was it, the Vikings last week?
No, the Raiders.
The Raiders.
That doesn't say much.
I think it doesn't say much, but
stink.
I don't have a lot of positive feelings to the Cardinals. And
I know, but
the
this
program
is
that they're
exactly what
running.
the Cardinals are. They lose like the game to the Titans, and then they'll compete in a game they don't expect them to.
That's what scares me because of the pride thing. So we'll see. But I'm going to take the Colts.
I'm taking the points. We'll put it that way.
Would you like let's bet
No,
on
not bad. No. All right, next game is the Rams at the Ravens. Rams it was 7.5. It is down to 7, which would suggest that there's actually money on the Ravens. So Lamar Jackson is not expected to play again. I am not 100% sure whether it is going to be Cooper Rush again or Tyler Huntley, who apparently they have on the roster again. Now, he is at least a little more Lamar-like than Cooper Rush. So, but like I said last week...
Cooper Rush didn't seem to work.
Yeah, and why is his name escaping me? The coach there. Harbaugh. Is not a guy that makes adjustments.
Is it Jim or John?
John. So I don't think it really matters. I don't think Tyler Huntley's that good. I mean, he might have won 1 or 2 games a couple of years ago, but he hasn't done
sucked.
shit
I was
since.
shocked, man. I liked Cooper Rush last year.
Cooper Rush was 9-5 as a starting quarterback with the Cowboys because maybe they made adjustments to suit him a little better. And Harbaugh's not going to do that. So you got Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. I don't love... the hook's not there anymore. So that's good because I don't always trust Sean McVay as like a multi-point favorite because he does tend to take his foot off the gas and he's not a coach that likes to gamble. So worries me a little bit, but I don't know how you can take the Ravens. Steve.
I'm going to take the Ravens here. I just think at home, again, I'm going to stay. I think everybody's going to look against the Ravens based off how bad they looked last week. I'm hoping Cooper Rush gets another shot. Like you said, I mean, he looked horrible, but I hope that he can actually get things going here for the Ravens. I don't know
Rams have a pretty good defense.
I don't know that Huntley is the answer here. Mm-hmm. But playing at home, I don't love the Ravens here, but getting 7.5, I think
it is at 7.
I think Harbaugh gets his team ready to play.
How long of a leash does Harbaugh get here? Because I think he deserves to be fired.
A pretty long leash. I think that they are they like him a lot. I mean, obviously he's won the Super Bowl down there. I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like he's going to leave on his terms, but we'll see.
All right.
Thought that about Reed too, and they've made a move. The Eagles made a move on him. Same coaching tree.
All right. Next game is the Cowboys at the Panthers. Cowboys are 3-point favorites. Panthers coming in off a win over Miami. Doesn't say much, I guess. So they're actually 2-3 on the season. Cowboys offense is rolling despite not having CeeDee Lamb, who I don't know specifically. I assume he's not playing this week, but I'm not 100% on that. Cowboys defense is still bad, and they have a lot of injuries. This is also the Rico Dowdle revenge game. So I am going to take the points with the Panthers.
Well, I'm going to take the Panthers too.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
Fuck the Cowboys.
Okay. That's a good way to bet games. All right. Next game is the Titans at the Raiders. Raiders are 4.5 point favorites. Raiders, other than their week 1 win over the Patriots, have been so bad. Their offensive line is bad. Geno Smith is bad. He's throwing like 3 interceptions a game. I don't know. Both these teams have the same record. I don't know why the Raiders are 4.5 point favorites over the Titans. Titans did get the big win last week in Arizona. They did stay out west, so they did not travel back and forth. So that's a good thing. Generally, 2 bad teams. I say take the points. I will not actually bet this game. And I would say that line is weird. So that would mean take the Raiders. But I don't know why Vegas would fix a shitty game like this. So I am not betting a single dollar on that.
I just like the Raiders because it looks like
And I don't know that Brock Bowers is playing. Is that his name, Brock Bowers?
Yeah.
He was out last week. I don't think he's playing again this week, or at least he's questionable.
Well, the money looks heavy on the Raiders from what I was looking at earlier. The sharp money looks like it's on the Raiders. So
Okay.
I think it's the big deal. The reason with the line is just that they're giving the Raiders big time home field advantage here.
But why? They don't have a home field advantage.
I don't know. The line's telling me to take the Raiders. I'm going to take them.
Okay. I just don't know why Vegas would. Whoa.
I think maybe with Carroll going up against a rookie quarterback, he's going to make it a nightmare for them. So he'll blitz the hell out of them.
Okay. All right. Next game is the 49ers at the Bucks. Bucks were 3 point favorites. It is up to 3.5. It sounds like it will be Mac Jones to start this game. 49ers do have to travel to Florida, so we have the same situation with the travel and the heat. Everybody's praising Mac Jones. He's another one. He's not as bad as Trevor Lawrence, but 1 minute he's on the ground, grabbing his calf, and then the next minute he's back out there.
He's got a flair for the dramatics, doesn't he?
So Shanahan apparently had liked him the year that he came up in the draft. So he did good last week. They got the win over the Rams. But going up against the Todd Bowles defense, I don't know that he's going to fare as well. Statistically, he's only been blitzed at an 18% rate in the games he started for San Fran this year. Todd Bowles likes to blitz a lot more than that. And these teams actually played in both 2022, but it was Tom Brady, 23 and 24. San Francisco won all those matchups. They won last year by a last-second field goal that their shitty-ass kicker, Moody, made for them. I don't know how you can't. Mike Evans is still out. Chris Godwin is now out again. And Bucky Irving is out again this week. But, I don't love the hook. But I don't know how you can't take the Bucs.
I'm going to take the 49ers. I love the hook. I think it's a 3-point game. 49ers should play them tough. I think Bucs are overrated. They're not going to blow the 49ers out in this position. The 49ers have too much talent. 49ers are 4-1 straight.
Injuries.
49ers are 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games. So they're getting points here. All that means is they can keep it within 3, but they win the game. Obviously, they're getting points.
They did lose to Jacksonville. All right, well, we're different sides of that one. Next game is the Bengals at the Packers. Packers are 14.5 point favorites. Packers are coming off the bye after their tie with the Cowboys. And the Bengals have acquired Joe Flacco from the Browns. He literally just got there and he's starting in this game. I don't know if I love this for Joe Flacco because I don't know how well he's going to fare behind this offensive line. He will have weapons, although Jamar Chase is sick, so he's questionable with an illness. I just don't know if he's going to have time, and he can't move, so that's not good. The line is way too big, so I won't touch this one way or the other. And interestingly enough, Flacco already played the Packers once this year when he was quarterbacking for the Browns. And they did lose that game. Oh, you like the Bengals this week?
I am going to take the Bengals. I love Flacco. You know that. I just think 14.5 is a lot of points
behind
too.
Behind that line, I don't know.
You keep talking about the line, but what I'm looking at is those two receivers. And I think Flacco's going to be wily enough veteran to get the ball off and put some points up on the board. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen here. They got some talented wide receivers.
He's going to end up getting hurt.
Arm.
That's what's going to happen.
It's possible if they can't protect him, he's going to get hurt. But I'm in on this. So I look at this as like in the lab. I love the move. Put Flacco in there. See what the hell he can do.
I just
instead of keep rushing out that bum Browning.
Now, what if Jamar Chase don't play? Does that change your mind?
Yeah. Okay. I like it less. I would leave it all alone if Jamar Chase doesn't play.
I'll put Jamar Chase in a couple FanDuel lineups. I had a couple good FanDuel lineups last week.
Jamar Chase is the best player on the field in that game if he's playing.
Well, they got T. Higgins too. All right. Next game is
best player on the field.
Yeah, okay. Lions at the Chiefs. Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites. So this is probably the game of the week. Chiefs are 2-3 on the season after losing to the Jags on Monday night. Interesting fact, Jared Goff is 3-0 versus Mahomes in his career. That does include starts when he was with the Rams. So this I got off the radio today, so I can't take credit for it. But the Chiefs defense is bad against play action, which Detroit plays at the second highest rate in the league. They're also bad against outside zone runs, which is what the Detroit Lions like to do. Now, you know, normally, like anytime you get the Lions as a dog, it's like, yeah, sign me up for that. But I just a little worried like that this is a setup. And 85% of the bets, 93% of the money is on the Lions. It was the same thing last week, and they did win. It was close, though, until Browning took the safety, but it was like 1 point out. So I don't know if it was ever really going to get there. And Dan Campbell, in his coaching career, is 11-2 as a dog. So I'm going to take the Lions, but I'm a little worried about that one.
All right, last week I took the Chiefs to lose against Jacksonville. I took the Lions to cover. This week I'm flipping it. I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover. 93% of the money's on Detroit so far this week. It's too much money, too much lopsided on
Sunday
Detroit.
night?
It's just like last week. So I'm taking the Chiefs to win the game.
Is this Sunday night? Are there 2 Monday night games?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I could totally see it. I could totally say that's probably the right side. All right. And then we're on to Monday night. We have 2 games again this Monday. So first one up is the Bills at the Falcons. Bills are 4.5-point favorites. And that feels a little low, maybe. Falcons are coming off the bye week. Bills coming off the loss to the Patriots. And when I first saw this game, I thought back week 1, Ravens, Derrick Henry against the Bills run defense. And enter stage left, Bijan Robinson off the bye. And this works in my favor. 80% of the bets. And I don't know if that's, I can't read my own handwriting, but it's either 75 or 95. It's probably 75% of the money is on the Bills. So I'm taking the Falcons all day in this one. And Falcons have a very good record when they're an underdog they are not so good when they're favored. So here we have them as a home dog. So I like the Falcons a lot in this one.
I like the Falcons too. I think it's just, I agree. It's a weird feel like you'd think the line would be higher, but I feel like the Bills are going to fuck around and find out on this one. Like they're going to play kind of lackadaisical, going on the road against Atlanta, maybe a little too big in the fact that, big headed, thinking that the Falcons aren't that good, but I'm looking for Michael Penix Jr. to have a come out party here at home Monday night against the Bills. I'll take 4.5 at home. Home dog.
All right, same side of that one. And then the other Monday night game is the Bears at the Commanders. Commanders are 4.5-point favorites as well.
Hey,
which is interesting.
Take the points, baby.
So the Bears are coming off a bye. Commanders coming off the win against the Chargers. Now this is weird. Why would the Bears have played the Falcons 2 years in a row? And why are you looking at a picture of Murphy on your phone?
The Bears have played the Bills have played the Falcons?
No, the Bears have played the Commanders. You're totally not listening.
You can play the team like every year. In the NFC, it just doesn't work out that way. But you can play teams like 3-4 years in a row out of the division.
So because this is the Hail Mary game from last year. The Commanders had the Hail Mary pass when the Bears defender was not paying attention. So this is the Hail Mary revenge game. So I'm taking the points with the Bears.
I'm taking the Bears as well.
Okay. Interesting. Same side of the Monday night games. Now, last Monday was the classic Monday night fix. So hopefully we'll get one of them this week.
I feel like we're vibing up on a lot of these games this week, and usually.
Well, I assume we did last week too, because
we both
similar
had a lot of winners.
Records. All right, so that will do it for us for week 6. If you're watching, remember to like and subscribe. Oh, and you didn't even mention the camera issue last week. Hopefully. See you. All right, peace out.